Good evening, sharp 9 o'clock. Welcome to this webinar. We are going to cover a lot of things about how we can harness our breath in order to master our life over the next 60 minutes. And in the next 60 minutes, I really want to get to know each and every one of you in the webinar. So I will start with myself. I am from Hyderabad. Tell me, where are you from? I'd like to know. Type in the chat where you are from. From Bhilai, Mysore, Hyderabad. Shadul, I am from Hyderabad as well. Jharkhand, JPR. What's JPR? Bangalore, Vijaypura, Hindupur, Hyderabad. Quite a number of people from Hyderabad. Okay, Kannur, Manipur. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing from Delhi and Bhojpur. And let me see from Indore, from Bangalore. Great, wonderful. Thank you all for sharing. Excellent. All right, so let us quickly run through what we are going to learn in the next 60 minutes. We are going to cover three things. The first thing is how our breath has a deep impact on our physical health, on our emotional health, and on our spiritual health. And really, breath is the hidden source of our energy, as we will see in the course of the next 60 minutes. But we are not just going to talk about theory. We are going to cover two hands-on practices that you will walk away with. The first hands-on practice is a conscious breath practice that helps you deal with stressful situations and anxiety. And the second hands-on practice is how we can replace a unhealthy breath pattern, and many people have a very unhealthy breath pattern. We will look into that and how we can replace it with a much healthier breath pattern, and that has a immediate effect at your health at many levels, at the physical, emotional, and the spiritual level. So these are the three things that we are going to cover in the next 60 minutes. I really acknowledge each and every one of you for having joined at this late hour at 9 o'clock. And you have decided to invest your time here in this webinar. And that really tells me that you are interested in spending your time in learning new skills so that you can take the quality of your life to the next level. And I respect that. And I, on my part, I will do everything in my capacity to make sure that every minute that you spend here is well worth it. But you know what? I really cannot do it alone. I need your help. I need your commitment also. Specifically, I need your commitment on 3 counts for the duration of this webinar. First is make sure that you're focused and concentrating on this webinar. Second, be fully engaged with me. What I mean by be fully engaged is whenever I prompt you to write something in the chat, please do so. Whenever I put out a poll, please participate in the poll, and make sure that you really follow through these hands-on breath practices. And the third commitment I want from you is to stay until the end of the webinar. If you follow these 3, I guarantee you that you are actually going to walk away with some very precious knowledge and practices that you can apply immediately. Is that a deal? Let you and I make a deal. If it is a deal, type a D in the chat for deal. Type a D in the chat. I am interested in knowing whether you are making a deal with me or not. Yes, deal. Many of you are indeed making a deal, and I see the messages coming from YouTube and Facebook as well. I acknowledge everyone who is making a deal, and on my part, I will make sure that I will honor this deal from my end. All right. So right now I am going to turn off the chat in Zoom. What that means is you can still continue writing to me, but only I will see the messages. That way we can make sure that everyone else in the webinar is focused on the messages. So, all right, very good. Before we go into talking about how we can harness the power of our breath, let me share a little bit about myself and what is my motivation. Why am I doing this webinar and similar webinars? Even though I do not know you directly and I cannot see you at the moment, I am making this assumption that many of us are facing challenges on a everyday basis. These challenges can be at many levels. These challenges may be on our professional front, where we are trying to meet the expectations of the workplace. We are trying to perform a good job. We are on the phone with those overseas clients. We are on the phone with the boss even during off hours. We are sacrificing quite a bit, and add to that the commute and the peer pressure and everything. That really is quite a lot in our professional life, a lot of challenges, isn't it? Or we may be facing challenges on the financial front, where we are trying to live a life of comfort, but yet we are having to worry about many things on the financial front. Or we may be facing challenges in our personal life, in our relationship with our loved ones. Or maybe we are facing challenges in our relationship with our own inner self. Any number of challenges that we face on a everyday basis. Now, all of these challenges that we face, they actually manifest themselves in some way, shape, or form in our life. What do I mean by that? These challenges may manifest in our physical body as illnesses or imbalances like blood pressure or heart-related conditions or diabetes or chronic body pains or fatigue, any sleep disorders, any number of physical illnesses. We hardly bat an eyelid whenever we hear someone say that they're having these problems. We accept them as quote unquote normal. Or the problems that we face, the challenges that we face may manifest themselves at a emotional level, at the mind level, where we may be subject to stress and anxiety or depression or guilt or anger or sadness. We carry so much of emotional baggage within us, isn't it? Or those challenges can manifest at a deeper spiritual level, where we may feel very disconnected with ourselves, where we may feel very unhappy with ourselves. Any number of challenges and any number of manifestations of those challenges. I know because I have faced many of these challenges, but let me ask you, if you are facing any of these challenges in your life, type me in the chat, M-E, me in the chat. I just want to understand a little bit more about you, about my audience. Me. Yes, yes, yes. I understand. I acknowledge. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. And you know what? I really acknowledge you for sharing that you are facing some of these issues, because oftentimes we are, we keep the problems within ourselves. We don't acknowledge that. So thank you for that. And I totally understand about these problems. And the reason I say I understand about all of these challenges is because I myself have faced many of these challenges, many of these problems, and perhaps even more intensely than most people. So let me share a little bit about myself so that you get to know about me and why I'm doing this, my motivation for doing this webinar. Like many of you, I'm guessing almost every one of you or most of you are in a professional line of work. And I used to be a professional myself. I used to work as a software engineer, even though I may look different right now. I used to work as a software engineer. I worked in Silicon Valley in California for 18 years from 87 to 2005. And I worked across many high-tech companies. In fact, when I look back in 1996, I was working at Sun Microsystems, where I was part of the team that created and developed the Java programming language, which is so widely used on the internet today. I worked across many high-tech companies, but my life, I have consciously taken a different path. At the height of my professional career, at the pinnacle, I walked away from my profession. I came back to India from USA, and I have been a full-time student of spirituality for the last 17 years. So having been in the corporate world and in the spiritual world, I have that balance between them, and I understand the challenges that many people face. And even though from an outside perspective, I had a successful career, and indeed I had a very successful career, and things seem to be going good. But you know what? Internally, I was facing many of the challenges that many of you may be facing. Stress and anxiety were constantly in my mind. Depression was a huge role in my life. It nearly devastated me. I hit rock bottom at many levels, many times, at a emotional level, at a spiritual level, at a financial level, and even at a physical level. And all of these challenges I was facing, even though from the outside everything looked good. And internally, I was carrying those wounds. And I am guessing that that might be the case with many people, where from the outside, everything looks normal. Ha, chalta hai, he's doing good or she's doing good. But internally, our inner world may be something completely different at many levels, whether it is at the physical level or at the emotional level or at a spiritual level. But for me, I fortunately learned some inner transformational practices from yogis and masters that have helped me heal from the inside out. Because you know what? Many of us are really wounded at different levels, and it needs a healing touch from the inside out. And these inner transformational practices really helped me heal myself. And when I use the term inner transformational practices, I mean practices like conscious breathing, about which we are going to talk about today, practices like meditation or mindfulness. They help me. And my motivation for doing webinars and sharing my knowledge comes from the fact that I have fallen down very badly, and I have seen many friends really fall off the treadmill of life because they were not taking enough care of themselves. And that is why I want to really share this, because using spiritual tools doesn't mean taking walking the path of spirituality full time. We just use those principles in our everyday life for us to gain the maximum benefit. So that is my motivation for doing this webinar. And the cornerstone of all of my inner transformational practices has been conscious breathing. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about today. But before we proceed, I want each one of us to take a baseline to understand where we are at the current moment. Like I said, we made a deal to be fully engaged. So now is the time. I want you to all follow my instructions for the next 60 seconds and do exactly what I say. Don't change how you're breathing, but simply bring your awareness to your breath. Again, it is very important that you do not change how you are breathing currently. Continue breathing that way, but simply observe your breath. Is your breath shallow? By shallow breath, what I mean is as you're inhaling and as you're exhaling, where is the movement of air? Is it primarily in the neck, shoulder, or upper chest regions only? If so, that is shallow breath. Or are you having a deep breath? By deep breath, I mean, is your belly expanding as you inhale and contracting as you exhale? Simply observe your breath without changing it. Okay, good. Now that you have observed your breath, you let me know what your breathing pattern is. I am launching a poll, and tell me through the poll if you have a shallow breath. Click on A, first option. A, if you have a shallow breath. B, if you have a deep breath where your belly is expanding on inhalation and contracting on exhalation. Or C, if you couldn't focus and observe your breath. A or B or C. And I am ending the poll right now, and let me share the results. Look at that result. 33% of the people here say that you are having a shallow breath. 42% of the people here say that you are having a deep belly breath, and 25% could not focus and observe your breath. And for those of you who could not focus and observe your breath, this is especially important. This webinar is especially important because it actually shows how we can improve our focus as well. So be it. Now, let me also share the studies that have been done by scientists when they go out to people and ask them to randomly check their breath and record the breath. You know what they found? Almost up to 80% of the people have a shallow breath, and only about 20% people have a deeper belly breath. Now, in this webinar, a relatively higher percentage than 20 had a deeper belly breath. And the reason for that is, here we are in this webinar. I am assuming that you're more or less relaxed, and we heard some relaxing music before the webinar has started, and therefore naturally the breath would be deeper. But when you observe your breath at random times tomorrow, at random times, catch how you're breathing, and probably your breath may be shallow at that time. So let us understand what a shallow breath means. What does a deep breath mean? All right. So shallow breath, which majority of the people, almost 80% of the people have, shallow breath is both unhealthy and it consumes a lot of energy. It is ineffective. It is unhealthy because it brings in the least amount of air into the lungs, and it is ineffective. It is expensive because it actually consumes quite a bit of energy for breathing. Yes, even breathing consumes energy. So what does this shallow breath mean to us? In addition to bringing in less amount of air, it actually introduces two kinds of stress within us. One is stress in the physical body. There is a stress built up into each and every cell of our body. And the second type of stress that shallow breath introduces is the mental or emotional stress. So obviously, shallow breath is not a very healthy way of breathing. What does a deeper belly breath look like? What does it look like? For that, let us go all the way back to when we were children, when we were infants. How did we breathe? Or if you have small children, you might have noticed how they are breathing. Here is a infant. Look at how the belly is expanding when the baby is inhaling and how the belly is contracting as the baby is exhaling. Simple as that. This is called belly breathing. This is exactly the way nature intended for us to breathe, and therefore infants naturally have that breath. And this belly breath is both healthy and natural. It is healthy because it brings in the most amount of air into the lungs and consumes the least amount of energy. But unfortunately, as we became adults, we lost that natural way of breathing and we developed a shallow breath. Now, your question may be why? Why did we develop that shallow breath? It is because we are constantly in a fight or flight mode. We are dealing with everyday challenges, and that creates a stress, and that makes our breath shallow and irregular, as we will see as we move further. So, shallow breath, unhealthy. Deep breath, healthy. And fortunately, today we are going to look at how we can actually replace that shallow breath with a deeper belly breath, so that even when we are unconscious all the time, that we have a deeper belly breath as our normal breath. We are going to look into that hands-on practice. And the other practice that I mentioned is a breath practice that helps us drive away that stress and anxiety and helps us become much more focused and centered. So these are the two breath practices that we are going to look into. So before I move forward, I just want to know a little bit about yourself. I want to know whether you are currently having holistic practices and whether you have been practicing them regularly in the last 30 days. What do I mean by holistic practices? Holistic practices include, I will launch a poll, so hold your answers. Holistic practices include all of these: yogasanas, conscious breathing or pranayama, meditation, conscious relaxation, mindfulness. These are the holistic practices. And if you have all or many of those holistic practices and you have been practicing them regularly every day without fail over the last 30 days, in the poll that I am launching, click on A. Yes, I spend time on many or all of the holistic practices, or click on B if you have maybe one practice but you haven't been regular over the last 30 days, or click on C if you do not currently have any holistic practices. A or B or C. A or B or C. All right. All right, let me end the poll. Let me end the poll and let me share the results. Look at the results. 60% of people here do not have any holistic practices. Only about 19% have been practicing regularly over the last 30 days, and I have all of these holistic practices. Congratulations to that minority. And about the same number of people have not been regular in practicing. And for those of you who currently do not have any holistic practices, I totally understand why, because we are dealing with so many challenges on an everyday basis. Or we may be under the impression that trying to take those practices actually takes time, and I do not have time. But the good news is actually integrating these holistic practices into our everyday life can take very little time, and we will see how we can actually bring it into the middle of our day. So we are going to cover that as well. All right, so that really helped me get a better understanding of everyone. So right now, let us go into the practice of how to deal with stressful situations, how we can use the power of our breath in order to deal with stress. And I am pretty sure that many of us would be experiencing stress and anxiety on a everyday basis. If that is you and you would like to have a breath practice that can help you immediately get relief from stress and anxiety, type me in the chat so I know that you are eager to learn. So type me in the chat, M-E, me in the chat. All right, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. You are interested in learning, and that is exactly what we are going to do right at this moment. So now, many of you may already be intuitively knowing the relationship between the state of our mind and our breath. What I mean by that is when we are stressed out or anxious or angry or agitated, how is our breath? Our breath becomes shallow, it becomes irregular, it becomes fast. Whereas when we are in a more relaxed state of mind, our breath becomes deeper, it becomes slower, it becomes more harmonious. So, obviously, the state of mind has a direct impact on our breath. But are you aware that our breath also has a direct impact on the state of our mind, on our thoughts, on our emotions? Think about that for a minute. We all know how difficult it is to control this mind directly. But the good news is we can control this mind, we can control our thoughts, we can control our emotions through our breath. So the practice that we are going to go into is called extended exhalation. It is a practice that helps us deal with, to drive away that stress or anxiety, whether that stress or anxiety is being caused by external events or external people around you or situations or circumstances around you, or maybe that stress is being caused by within our own mind, by our own patterns of thinking. Irrespective of the source of stress, this practice is going to help. In this practice, the exhalation is intentionally kept longer than the inhalation. And we will go into this practice in a couple of minutes. We will start with 4 seconds of inhalation and 5 seconds of exhalation. Do a few rounds and then do 4 seconds inhale, 6 seconds exhale. Then extend the inhalation by 5 seconds inhale, 7 seconds exhale. 5 seconds inhale, 8 seconds exhale. That is the practice that we will do in just a minute. But Here are a few things I want to mention before we go into the practice. The first thing is make sure that you're breathing through the nose and not through the mouth. Second thing is make sure that if you are not able to inhale and exhale for the designated number of seconds, don't extend your breath too much beyond your comfort level. Don't go out of breath. Breathe normally. It is okay to extend a little bit beyond the comfort level, but not so much as to go out of breath. And when you inhale, make sure that your belly is expanding. Inhale into the stomach and then inhale into the chest. And then when you exhale, make it very slow and long and relaxed exhalation. And I will keep a count. The way I will keep a count is I will prompt you to inhale, and then I will keep a count of 4 seconds. I'll say Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, and I'll say exhale and keep the count similarly. And the final thing I want to mention is make sure that when you do the practice, your mind should be completely focused only on your breath. So with that, let us get into the extended exhalation practice right now. I want you all to sit straight. Make sure that you're sitting comfortably, but make sure that your back is straight. Make sure your body is relaxed, especially your shoulders, neck, and face are completely relaxed. I want you to close your eyes. Close your eyes and bring your awareness to your breath. Bring your awareness to each inhalation and to each exhalation. And still with your eyes closed, let us start with a deep exhalation. Exhale. Now make the intention that you want to be relaxed and that you want to be stress-free, and then inhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Inhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Inhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Inhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale 6 Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6. Inhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6. Inhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6. Inhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6. Inhale 5 Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Exhale 7 Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6, Om 7. Inhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Exhale Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6, Om 7. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6, Om 7. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Exhale 8, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6, Om 7, Om 8. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6, Om 7, Om 8. Last round. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4, Om 5, Om 6, Om 7, Om 8. With your eyes closed still, be in the present moment, be in the body, inhaling and exhaling in a relaxed fashion. Inhale, exhale. And whenever you are ready, open your eyes. All right, I hope that every one of you has had a chance to do this extended exhalation practice, which really helps us to focus and to concentrate and to really drive away that stress and that anxiety. Now, instead of me telling you that this exercise actually helps you, I want you to tell me through a poll, how was your experience, whether after this extended exhalation practice, whether you're feeling calmer and more relaxed? Click on A if it made no difference to you. Click on B or click on C if you couldn't do the practice. I am ending the poll in 3, 2, 1, and ending the poll here. And let me share the results. 70% of the people here said that they are feeling more calm and relaxed. And almost 21% of the people could not do the practice. I do not know why you couldn't do the practice. It is absolutely safe. Deepa, by the way, I saw your question. Yes, it can be done at any time, even after dinner. It is a very, very simple practice. And for a minority of the people, it did not make a difference. But here is the takeaway. For almost 70% of the people, this 3-minute practice immediately made a huge difference. And you know what? Now you have a practice in your pocket. The next time that you feel stressed or anxious or dealing with any kind of negative emotions, when you become aware of that, just take this 3 minutes time out and breathe using this extended exhalation, making sure that your exhalation is longer than an inhalation, and doing this. You can do it even in the middle of your day, whenever, anytime you can do that. And it helps you immediately become much more centered, much more focused. So that is the first practice, and I am pretty sure that you will actually find it helpful. I have used it so many times, and it really puts me in a totally different state of mind, and I'm able to deal with whatever situation is presented to me in a much better and conscious way. All right, very good. Now, we have gone through this first practice, and there is the other practice, which is how to replace that shallow breath with a deeper belly breath. But we will come into that practice in a few minutes. But first, we have to understand, many of you may be having the question, Venkat, why are we talking about breath? Breathing is something that I'm doing all the time. What is it about breath and how can it really benefit me? So let us address those questions first. Let me ask you a question. Let us say that we have a bundle of money. Now, would we simply throw away the money on the streets without using for anything? Would we do that? Tell me in the chat if we would throw away the money and simply waste money. Would we do that? Tell me. I like how you answered, Asma. No and no. And many of you are saying no and no. Anil Kumar is saying yes. Okay. I'm assuming you are the exception, but pretty much everyone is saying no, no, no. And I appreciate each and every one of your answers. And yes, from Facebook, Rajesh and Pratibha, no, no, no. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing all of your answers. And why is it that we wouldn't throw away money? Because money is a precious resource and we wouldn't want to throw away. We do not want to waste a precious resource. We want to use it fully, right? So if you agree that we do not waste away, we do not want to waste away a precious resource like money, then pay more attention to what I'm saying next. Are you aware that most people are wasting a resource that is much more precious than money? We are wasting it away. We are not using it fully. And we do that every minute of our life, every breath, all through our lives. We are wasting away a precious resource. What is that precious resource? That precious resource that we are wasting every minute is the power of our breath. Power of our breath. So to understand about the power of our breath, let us look at something that is making heads turn these days. A wonderful invention, a wonderful vehicle that is on the roads these days. This is a Tesla car. It runs on electricity. It is very, very efficient. Now, tell me, because it runs on electricity, if we did not have the proper voltage of electricity in our home, can we charge the Tesla and can we use the Tesla? Type in the chat what your thought is. Can we really charge it and can we use the Tesla if the electricity is not at its full voltage? Not possible. No, no, no. And I agree with you. Yes, it is not possible to use the Tesla, to charge the Tesla. All right, very good. Thank you. Thank you for all of your answers. Now, Tesla is a amazing machine, isn't it? Very, very efficient, more well-engineered vehicle. Not many of us have access to a Tesla. But here is the good news. There is something that is millions of times more well engineered and more powerful than a Tesla, and all of us have access to that. I want you to take a guess what that might be that we all have access to, that is much, 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 much more powerful than a Tesla. What is it? What could that be? Mind. What else? Let me see. Mind, breath. Let me see the answers come in. Soul. Okay. Okay. And air. All right. Body. Good. All right. Good. Good. Air. Present time. Good. Vibrations, healthy body, soul, and mind. Purnima, you hit the nail on the head. Okay, all of you are saying it correctly in some way, shape, or form, but the most precious resource that we have to, that is much, much more powerful than the most powerful computer or the most amazing car, or that whatever that we can think of. It is a combination of our body, our mind, and our soul. Most amazing thing. Now, let us come back to the Tesla. The Tesla needs electricity for it to be recharged and for it to run. Similarly, our body and mind, it needs a recharging for it to proper function at its optimal level. And how does that recharge occur? Many of you may be thinking from the food that we eat. Well, that only supplies very small portion of the recharging that our body and our mind needs. The main source is our breath. See, we might be under the impression that breathing is only to keep us alive. We are breathing every minute, and in fact, without breath, there is no life. But is our breath only to keep us alive? No. There is a incredible power to breath, a vital energy that most of us are not even aware of, and therefore we do not even come anywhere close to harnessing the power of our breath. And when we are able to understand the power of breath, when we are able to learn the skills of conscious breathing, of doing away with unnatural breathing patterns, then we will be in a position to harness that power of breath. And that has such a healing impact on the physical body, on our emotions, and at a deeper spiritual level, because it is only breath that connects this individual prana, and that's why they call it pranayama. Prana means the vital life energy. Ayama means expansion. When we do the conscious breathing, that means that it is a expansion of the vital life force, of the vital energy. Breath is the only conduit to expand that vital energy. And from that perspective, breath is like that umbilical cord that connects our individual prana with the universal prana. And if only we learn this art of breathing, the skill of conscious breathing, it helps us fix a number of problems. Let me ask you a question. See, the Tesla is a fairly well designed machine, right? We would be pretty upset if it starts breaking down every so often. Now, our expectation of the Tesla is that it has to run well because it is very well engineered. By the same token, is it not reasonable for us to expect that this body, this mind, and this soul, which are designed even more intelligently by Mother Nature, that they run flawlessly? In the chat, let me know if you agree with me that nature has designed this body to be healthy, this mind to be happy and stress-free. If nature has designed us to function at the optimal level, type yes or agree in the chat. Yes, 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 yes. I see many number of people agreeing with this. Yes, indeed, Mother Nature, this universe has designed this body and this mind and this soul to function at the optimal level. But you know what the reality is? The reality is that we are having so many problems in the body, in the mind, and in the soul. In the body, we may be facing many illnesses, which I mentioned at the beginning, whether it is BP or heart condition or diabetes or improper sleep or chronic body pains, whatever. At the mind level, stress, that anxiety, that depression, that anger or guilt or feeling of disconnectedness within ourselves. If nature has designed this to be functioning at an optimal level, why is it that we are having all of those problems? Now, there can be any number of causes for this. I am not denying that, but oftentimes there is one root cause. If we are able to identify that root cause and if we are able to fix that root cause, it fixes many other problems. And that root cause is the ability, because we are not breathing properly. We are breathing, but not breathing properly. We do not know the different ways of breathing. And if only we can fix that root problem by harnessing the power of the breath, many problems will simply be on their way out from our lives. So, with that understanding of the power of breath, and that is why, you know, conscious breathing techniques are being adopted widely. In fact, many hospitals around the world are using conscious breath practices to treat their patients of physical illnesses, not just physical illnesses, but also emotional imbalances. And breath is also a deeply inwardly spiritual practice. We are breathing anyways. Let us breathe in the correct way and let us learn the different types of breath so that we can harness that power of breath. So with that, let us actually get into the second hands-on practice. That second hands-on practice is how we can replace that shallow breath with a deeper belly breath. Remember, we said that shallow breath is unhealthy and a majority of people have that. And if only we can replace that shallow pattern of breathing with a deeper belly breath, so that even unconsciously that becomes our default, our normal way of breathing, that one change alone brings about a huge benefit to us. Very, very tangible benefits in our body, in our mind, and in our soul. So let me ask you, are you ready to go through this practice? If so, type yes in the chat. Type yes in the chat. I will answer your question about God at the end if I have time, but let us now focus on breath. But breath is the God. Okay, let me not even get into the topic. Okay, many of you are saying yes, 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 and I am also ready to go through this practice with you. All right, very good, thank you. So there are two steps for us in order to replace this shallow breath with a deeper belly breath. The first step is raising our awareness about our current breath pattern. We did that at the beginning of this webinar when we did a snap check on our breath and whether we checked whether we have a shallow breath or a deeper belly breath. So we raised our awareness by a little bit. But you know what? We need to really bring it to the forefront of our mind. And the only way to do that is over the next 30 days. at 5 random times during the day. Just catch yourself and observe your breath and note down whether you're having a shallow neck breath or a deeper belly breath. Just observe, just like we observed at the beginning of this webinar. You can do that in like 2 seconds. Within 5 seconds, you can observe your breath. Make a note of that. And my suggestion is to start a journal. We have to be very methodical. In a journal, note down the date and note down, okay, at different times, whether I'm having a shallow neck breath or a deeper belly breath. Because when we are methodical, that raises our awareness to a higher level. And if we want to change a deep rooted pattern, and for many people this shallow breath is a deep rooted pattern, in order to change that deep rooted pattern, we first need to become very aware of that. So that is the very first step, because if we don't become aware of something, we cannot change it. So maintain a journal, but don't be scared. Many of you may be thinking, do I need to really open a notepad or open a file in the computer? Fortunately, I have a solution for you, and I have a gift for you. What I have done, I have created a editable PDF document, and I will share that editable PDF document with every one of you. And in that editable PDF document, oh, where is my Zoom? By the way, I am having a little bit of difficulty with my Zoom. Are you able to hear me, see me? If so, type yes in the chat. Okay, good. Let me just stop sharing the screen. How do I? Okay, 1 second. I am having a little bit of technical difficulty, and the difficulty that I am having is that I am not able to stop the share. Are you still able to see the screen share now, or are you able to see my window? Are you able to see my image? Yes? No? Okay, you are able to see me. Why is it that I cannot access my Zoom window? Okay, hold on. I am really having difficulty accessing this. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Okay, I got it. All right, thank you. Thank you for your patience. Good. All right, it went and hid under some other windows. All right, so let me share this PDF, editable PDF document with you. How does it look? Okay, this is the editable PDF document, and what I have entries for all 30 days. And what I want you to do is you enter the date on which you are doing the observation, and at 5 random times, I want you to catch yourself what your breath is, and simply note down. If you're having a shallow neck breath, just note down as NB, or if you are having a deeper belly breath, note it down as a BB. As simple as that. So let me now share with you how you can access this. I am going to share a link with you. That link will take you to my website landing page, where you enter your email address. And after you enter your email address, you will receive an auto reply. When you receive that auto reply, make sure that you click on confirm my email button. And when you click on that, you will immediately get another email with this PDF document. But I don't want you to be distracted by going to my website and filling your email address and responding to that auto. I will share the link. Just click on the link so that it opens in a browser window. And after this webinar, take your time and fill your email address, because immediately after sharing that link, I am going to go into the most important part of the practice, which is how we can actually, the second step, how we can actually replace that shallow breath with a deeper belly breath. So with that caveat, I am sharing the link to my landing page. All right. So that is the link. All right. Just make sure that it opens in a browser and come back into the webinar right now, because we are going to start on this practice right now. So our goal is what? To have a unconscious belly breathing pattern. Now, I want you to take you back to when you were consciously learning something new for the first time. Perhaps you were learning how to drive a bike, or perhaps you were learning how to drive a car, and you were so conscious about how to maintain that balance, or when to press the accelerator, when to release the clutch, when to shift the gear. You were very consciously doing all of that. But as you got more and more used to that, right now, if you drive your bike or when you drive your car, you no longer think about that. Your body is automatically doing that by reflex action, because you have trained your muscle memory to do that automatically. Belly breath is also like that. We have to initially be consciously training our breathing, but after that, the muscle memory takes over and we no longer have to think about it consciously. And that is exactly the practice that we are going to do right now. So in a minute, we will start the practice, but the way we will do that is, on each inhalation, we have to intentionally and purposefully expand the belly. It is as though you're breathing air into a balloon called the belly, and as you inhale, you're filling the belly. That should be the sole objective. And as you exhale, contract the belly. And to make it easier for us, I want you to place both of your hands on your belly like so. And the reason to place the hands is so that you can actually feel your hands move out when the belly is expanding when you inhale. And you should be able to feel the hands move in as the belly is contracting when you exhale. And we will do this for an inhalation of 4 seconds, exhalation of 4 seconds. We will do the practice right now. So, as before, I want you to sit straight. Make sure that your body is relaxed, your shoulders, neck, face relaxed. I want you to close your eyes. And now, in your mind, make an intention that right now I am going to practice conscious belly breath, and this belly breath should become my unconscious normal way of breathing. Make that intention. Now place both of your hands on your belly, and with your eyes closed, start with an exhale. Exhale, contract the belly. Inhale, expand the belly. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, contract the belly. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, expand the belly. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, contract the belly. Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, expand the belly, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, contract the belly, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Inhale, expand the belly, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, contract the belly, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Last round. Inhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Exhale, Om 1, Om 2, Om 3, Om 4. Now, still with your eyes closed, take your hands off your belly, but continue breathing in the same way, expanding your belly as you inhale, contracting it as you exhale. And whenever you're ready, open your eyes. So, this is the conscious belly breathing practice. What my suggestion is, every day, at least 3 times or 4 times, practice this conscious belly breath practice. Each time making an intention that this has to become your normal way of breathing and doing exactly what we did, and practice it until your unconscious breath is the belly breath. How do you know that belly breath has become your unconscious pattern of breathing? Remember that breath awareness journal that I showed? If you are consistently recording yourself as having a belly breath whenever you catch yourself at random times and observe whether you're having a shallow breath or a deeper belly breath, if you're consistently over 10 consecutive days, if you're having a belly breath at all the time, that is when you know that belly breath has become your normal way of breathing, and at that time you can discontinue this conscious belly breath practice. And therefore it is important for you to download that PDF document by going to my landing page after the webinar and entering your email address and confirming your email address in the auto reply. And when you adopt this practice, this one practice alone will make a huge difference in your health, in your physical health, in your emotional health, and at many, many levels in your capacity, capability to deal with stress, because it does not allow stress to build up in the body. So this is a gift that you can give yourself. All right, so we have covered 2 practices. One is the extended exhalation to deal with stress and to develop more focus, and the other is conscious belly breath. But you know what? These 2 practices are just the tip of the iceberg. There are many, many other practices, many other breathing practices that go into much more depth, that really address many health related issues, emotion related issues, and not to speak of that they can help us in maintaining a unflickering focus and unprecedented concentration. And I am happy to offer a 7-day interactive live program with you where I take you through many holistic practices, inner transformational practices that help us have this healthy body, healthy mind, and a peaceful soul, and we can become much more focused and concentrated. And right now, I'm not able to see you, but during these 7 days, where every day we meet for 75 minutes in the morning, I take you step by step through all of these practices of conscious breathing, of meditation, of conscious relaxation, and practicing of mindfulness, because all of these practices create that inside out change. It changes us at a cellular level in the physical body. It changes us in our mind so that we can get rid of stress or anxiety or any of that emotional baggage that we have, and do that. So let me share about the program that I am offering to you. The program is called Yogic Breath for a Healthy Body, Mind, and Soul. And before I go share the details about it, let me just share this testimonial that I received recently from Dr. Atul Shah, who is a practicing cardiologist for the past 4 decades. And he recently took my 1 week program, and he said that after taking my program, I realized that conscious breathing is one of the most important skills for our emotional stability, because without emotional stability, it is not possible to avoid any lifestyle diseases. And I'm in gratitude to Dr. Atul Shah for giving me this testimonial. All right, so let us look at what is included in the program. Like I said, it is a 7-day program, a live meeting of 75 minutes every single day from 6:45 to 8 o'clock in the morning. This 7-day program starts on a Monday and ends on a Sunday, and I'm currently doing it on alternate weeks. The next batch is November 15th, Monday, November 15th, and the batch after that is 29th of November. And 2 days prior to the start of the session, 7-day session, there is a preparatory onboarding orientation session to help you prepare in the body and in the mind to derive maximum benefit out of this 7-day program. And that also is going to be a live meeting with me. And you will be part of a private a WhatsApp group specific to the batch, so that you can interact with me, ask me any questions, have access to me during off hours as well. And this is the forum in which you can turn in your assignments. Yes, I give assignments even in the 7 days, offline assignments that might take 5 minutes or 7 minutes in the day, but this is where you turn. So this is what is included in the program. So how do we join the program? Why do we join the program? If I were to summarize that in just 2 words, 2 sentences. One is to have a healthy body, mind, and soul. And the second is to gain that unprecedented focus and concentration, which help us so much in every area of life. And in order to derive these benefits, there has to be some investment. The first investment is a time investment of 75 minutes every day for 7 days. And the second investment is the money investment. And I am keeping this program very affordable so that I can share this practice with as many people as possible. So you get everything that I talked about for 750 rupees. And I call it as a investment and not as an expense, because it is truly an investment that you're making, so that you are getting those results many, many times over. So this is a 7-day program, 75 minutes every single day. So let me share the links, and any questions that you may have about the program, please type into the chat and I will make sure that I address each and every question. And Rajvi Doshi, I did see your question. I will address that, and anyone else who might have any questions, please type it in the chat while I share the links, the two InstaMojo links. The first link I am sharing with you is for the November 15th to 21st batch, November 15th to 21st batch. Okay, yes, I am typing it into YouTube as well, Vishnu Kumar. Okay, that is the link for the November 15th to 21st. And the second link I am going to share with you is the link for joining the November 29th to December 5th batch. By the way, Vishnu, on YouTube, if you are able to see these links, please type a yes in the chat so I know that you have seen the links. And even Facebook, those who are on Facebook, you will see all of these links. Okay, so, and those in Zoom meeting also, please let me know if you have seen these two links. One of you just type a yes so that I know that you have seen the links. Okay, great. Thank you, Umashankar. Thank you for acknowledging that. All right, so these are the two links, and we have to respect time. Actually, today I ran a little bit about time, but I will keep this webinar open for the next 20 minutes. And now is the time for you to join this program in the next 20 minutes. And if you have any questions, please type them in the chat. Any questions about what we talked about today or about this 7-day program, whatever questions that you may have, please type it in the chat and I will address each and every one of them. Now, let me also share something else with you. Recently, Praveen Wadalkar, he has taken this yogic breath program, and the reason he took up this program is because he was telling me, Venkat, I'm feeling a little bit out of focus and I'm having low energy levels. I need something to help me. And I said, hey, take up these conscious breath practices and meditation, and it will help you. And he has taken that, and these are his own words. He said, after taking Venkat's yogic breath program, I have an increased focus and energy. My empty mind chatter has stopped, and I feel a deeper connection with my inner self. And the empty mind chatter is something, ladies and gentlemen, that consumes the most amount of energy. We always have those conflicting thoughts in the mind and that inner dialogue going on, and that is such a huge drain of our energy, and we really need to harness our energies. We need to conserve our energies, and this is the program that teaches you at many deep fundamental levels how we can do that inside out kind of a transformation. So what is it that we are going to cover in the 7 days? We are going to actually cover quite a number of things. So let me share that with you. But like I said, I am going to keep this webinar open only for the next, let me reset the clock. Okay, I have set the timer. We are going to end it in exactly 20 minutes. All right, with that, okay, I am going to cover each and every, I am going to recap all of the practices that we are going to cover within the 7 days. So you will have a very clear idea of what you are going to learn. Now, for those of you who are interested in paying through Google Pay or Phone Pay. Of course, you can still do it through the InstaMojo links. And when you go into the InstaMojo link and payment, it will give you the ability to pay by any UPI app. But if you want to explicitly pay it through that, and when you pay through InstaMojo, you will get an auto reply that gives you the links to immediately join the WhatsApp chat group, and also to also the Zoom information for the 7 days. You will get all of that information. But for those of you who want to join by Google Pay, let me share that with you. Okay, so here is the information, the QR codes, and note down this telephone number. Now, when you make this payment through your mobile, you will not get an auto reply, but please do take a screenshot of that and send a WhatsApp message to the number that you see on the screen and indicate whether you want to join the November 15th or the November 29th batch. So hopefully you have taken this down. And now let me share what is it that you are going to learn during the 7 days. The central practice is going to be conscious breathing or pranayama, and I will take you step by step on that. But that is not the only thing that you are going to learn. In addition to conscious breathing, I'm going to take you through a very deep and effective meditation practice, a incremental meditation practice, so that at the end of 7 days, you will have this practice in your pocket, and you all know the benefits of meditation. And during the 75 minutes every day, we are actually going to spend quite a bit of time in meditation. Actually, I make no difference between conscious breathing practices and meditation, but there is an explicit meditation practice as well, and we spend quite a bit of time going through that meditation practice. So conscious breathing, yes. Meditation, yes. In addition to that, you will also learn how to properly relax the body and the mind so that it allows for a deeper healing of the body and the mind. And at this time, the question in your mind may be, hey, I am getting my 6 hours or 8 hours of sleep every night. Is my body and mind not getting enough sleep? And my answer is no, not really, because even when we are sleeping, the body is working overtime, the mind is working overtime, and when we wake up, oftentimes we feel kind of stressed out and groggy and lethargic and all of that, and we need to learn how to properly relax ourselves, so that even a few minutes of proper relaxation is going to give us a very, very deep rest. So conscious breathing, meditation, proper relaxation. And in addition to that, we are also going to go through the practices of mindfulness. Mindfulness is that practice where we are in full awareness and with full focus on every activity that we do, whether it is a work-related activity or a routine, mundane activity, or spending time with a family member. Irrespective of that, we can be in full awareness and with full focus on that single activity. So we will go through all of these holistic practices, all of these inner transformational practices. When we combine conscious breathing with meditation and proper relaxation and mindfulness, that is indeed a life-changing inside out transformation within that really gives you immense benefits at your body, at your mind, and at your soul level, and helps you really focus and be in a state of concentration. So this, and during the 75 minutes, how does a 75-minute session look like? While we are going to be practicing on conscious breath and meditation, I am actually going to spend quite a bit of time in building the foundations, right? Because I strongly believe that unless the foundations are deep, that we cannot effectively practice. So from the 3 decades of my experience in this field, I have really distilled down. I'm very specific, very particular that people have to learn the correct ways, because oftentimes I see people making mistakes. Just go to YouTube and take a piecemeal kind of an approach, and without the proper foundation of the correct patterns of breathing and without an integrated approach, it is not very effective. So I place quite a bit of emphasis on that. And in the 75 minutes that we spend every day, we are actually going to spend quite a bit of time on the actual practices, accompanied by whatever necessary theory is required, but mostly on the practices. So I hope that gives you a very, very clear idea about what you are going to learn and how you are going to benefit from this. So if this speaks to you, if you really want to give that healing touch to your own inner self, at the physical body level, at the emotional level, to drive away the stress or the anxiety or the depression or what have you. And if you want to feel much more at peace within yourself and experience that true happiness or bliss, and if you want to have that unflickering focus and unprecedented powers of concentration to get you ahead in your everyday life, in every walk of your life, whether it is your professional life or financial life or personal life or family life, then this is the inside out change that is required for you. So I welcome you to join this program. Try it out. Take that leap of faith. Now I will come to answer each and every question that you have. Let me also remind you that the timer is running and we are just about 12 minutes before I end this webinar. So, all right, let me actually come to all of the questions. SV, I hope that has answered your question. If so, just type a yes in the chat so I know that you are there and that it has answered your question, SV. Okay, let me take the questions. So Rajvi Doshi is asking, can we get the recordings as well? Rajvi, yes, of course. In all of the sessions, there will be recordings, and I'll make sure that we have, everyone has access to the recordings for the duration of the course and for at least 2 weeks after the course, so that if for some reason you miss out on one single day, or if you want to revisit, then you have access to all of the recordings. And let me also mention that at the end of 7 days, I will bring you to a certain level, and I will actually leave you with 2 audio tapes, one audio tape for a morning practice and another audio tape for a nighttime practice. The nighttime practice is a combination of one breath practice and a very brief meditation, about 15-minute practice. And if we consistently do that 15-minute practice before going to bed every single day, that relieves quite a bit of stress, and that helps us have a peaceful sleep. So I leave you with those 2, but yes, you do get access to the recordings. All right. Let me answer the other questions. Yes, SV, you are talking about the practices that we do during the session. Yes, that is exactly what I'm talking about. So all the orientation session and the 7 days practice sessions, all of those recordings you will have access to. I hope I have answered your question. Yes, no, just type a yes if that has clarified. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, Mohan Kumar is asking, is it useful for teachers to teach this to children? Mohan, that is a very interesting question that you asked. If you're still there in the webinar, type yes in the chat, and I'm very happy to answer this question, Mohan Kumar. Of course, It is very helpful. See, one thing that children and those of you who have small children, you know, this is a characteristic of the day and age that we are living in, that many children are addicted to screen time, and they develop what is called ADD, or attention deficit disorder. I lived in the US for many years, and I have seen many children being diagnosed with ADHD or ADD, attention deficit disorder, and they actually give pills to them because children are not able to sustain this focus for a extended period of time. They are always in that, and breath practices are so important for them. Not all breath practices are suitable for children. Some breath practices like belly breathing, like deep integrated dirga pranayama type of breathing, and how we can direct our mind, focus our mind, those are very helpful to teach to children. So the short answer to your question, Mohan Kumar, yes, they are useful for teachers to teach children. All right. Okay. All right. Let me address the other questions that you may have. Okay. I am going to answer. Okay. Jayvant from Facebook. Let me first share the links one more time. Here is the link for the November 29th to December 5th batch. November 29th to December 5th batch. Let me share the November 15th to 21st link as well. So here is the link for November 15th to 21st. All right. So Jayvant, to answer your question, yes, these links are for this live webinar only. And we are going to end this webinar in the next 7 minutes. Now, if you have difficulty in paying for whatever reason, and you are still interested in joining this program because you have raised this question, I suggest that you get in touch with me, send an email to me, and you will be able to send the email to me by going to my landing page. By the way, I did not share my landing page on YouTube and Facebook. So let me share my landing page on Facebook and YouTube here. This is my landing page for the breath awareness journal. So if you go to my landing page and subscribe to my email address, you will have access to my email address, and you can send me an email at that address, and I will be able to help you out if you are interested in enrolling. So hopefully that answers your question, Jayvant. And if so, just type a yes in the chat so I know that you have heard my message and seen it. All right. Let me address the other questions. Saif Khan is saying, which is the best way for focusing long time in studies? Saif, are you a student, Saif? Tell me in the chat. From the nature of your question, I'm assuming that okay, great. I heard, and that's very interesting. See, focus and concentration. Actually, just yesterday I did a webinar on the importance of focus and concentration, and how our ability to focus and our ability to concentrate can take us a long way. It can put us much more ahead of everyone else. But more importantly, it can bring us that ultimate success that we are aiming for. And that those are we during the course of our lives we learn many things like studying for to become an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or whatever trade, but we hardly spend any time learning formally how to focus and how to concentrate, and focusing and ability to focus and concentrate are the most essential fundamental skills that we need to have in order to really realize anything, and especially for students, ability to focus for long periods of time. And you know what? It is not really the duration of the time that is important. Duration of the time is important, Saif Khan, but more important is the quality of the time that we spend. It is very much possible to spend just 1 hour and with so much focus and concentration and absorb so much material that it might be the equivalent of 4 hours of study for someone else. Yes, that is absolutely possible. And the way in which we can concentrate for long periods of time is by practicing concentration, by learning how to focus and concentrate, and by actually practicing concentration. And the way in which we can practice concentration is when we go through these holistic practices, these transformational practices. For example, when we do the breath practices, I make sure that everyone's mind is moving along with the breath. It is either part in the belly or in the chest or in the spot between the eyebrows. So concentration and conscious breathing are so directly related to each other. Concentration and meditation are so directly related to each other. Concentration and mindfulness are so directly related to each other. And that is exactly what you're going to learn and practice. And that will really help you on two counts. One is on the quantitative side, which is the duration, and more importantly on the qualitative side. So I hope that answers your question, Saif Khan. All right, good. Um, any other questions? By the way, those who have enrolled, type a I in the chat so I know I can expect you in the sessions, and welcome. So type a I in the chat. All right. Let me see if I can answer any other questions. By the way, we are just about 3 or 4 minutes before we end the session. All right. Okay. Can we get the recordings? All right. Pretty much, I think I have answered all the questions. So anything, oh, let me look into the Q&A window. Okay, so Ruby Sahayarani is asking, Ruby, are you still there? I see your question in the Q&A. You don't have an account. How can I get the course? I have cash only. Well, if you have a Google Pay or Phone Pay, you would be able to enroll in that. Are you still there in the webinar? If so, type yes in the chat, Ruby Rani. But yeah, you need to have some kind of a account in order to enroll in the course. Okay, Sandeep is asking, while inhaling, my belly is contracting. Is that I'm breathing the wrong way? Sandeep, are you still there? Type yes in the chat, because this is a very important question that you have asked. Okay, Sandeep. So What, okay, thank you for acknowledging. So when you are breathing, what you're saying is that your belly is actually, when you're inhaling, the belly is contracting. And you know what? 80% of the people have that kind of a breath. That is the shallow breath, because we are breathing into the neck, we are breathing into the chest, and the abdomen, the belly is contracting. It is exactly the reverse motion of how we should be breathing naturally. And when we have that shallow breath, it brings about so much of builds so much of stress in the body. And we have just gone through the practice of how we can replace that breath, and that applies to most people. It applies to 80% of the people, and we have gone through that practice. And I hope that you actually adopt that conscious breathing practices until you train your body, until you train your lungs to have the correct belly breathing pattern. And I invite you to join this 7-day program, because we are actually going to go through not just that, but many other breath practices that make us create many corrections within us. So Rishi Raj, I understand you have too much hesitation to speak in front of someone. Um, I do not know, probably you're asking in the context of breathing. Maybe your question is whether taking up this course is going to help you in that particular skill. Is that okay? I understand your question. See, you have to really address the reason that you have hesitation to speak English in front of someone. Either maybe you do not have enough proficiency in English, and if so, of course, there are so many offerings that help you reach a level of proficiency in English. Or maybe the reason that you're not able to speak in front of someone is because you do not feel confident enough, because you feel insecure enough. So out of these two reasons, what is the reason why you're having that hesitation to speak English in front of someone? Although it is not directly related to this particular webinar subject, but in a way, it is related. So which one is it, Rishiraj? Is it because you do not have enough command over English, or because you do not have enough confidence within yourself? A or B? Type A or B. And by the way, I am going to really end this webinar in the next 2 or 3 minutes. By the way, anyone, whoever has joined, please type a I in this. And anonymous, someone has asked how to solve nose blockage due to sinus. You can practice Jalaneti, where you pour water through one nostril, let it come through the other nostril. And as we go through the 7-day program, I'm going to talk about how one of the nostrils is blocked, and what we can do. So all right, Rishiraj, I still haven't gotten the answer whether it is because of your lack of command on English, or whether it is your lack of confidence. Only when I hear from you, I will answer the question. By the way, I really need to end this session. We are already over time. And welcome to everyone who has joined the program. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Okay. So we have spent almost 20 minutes. Oh, by the way, Anu, welcome back. I see your question. Can we practice any breathing exercise or any other technique to avoid feeling sleepy after afternoon meal? This is while working for office. Anu, are you still there in the webinar? If so, I will be happy to address. Okay, good. So first off, understand, if at all you get a chance for even taking off for 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and getting that shut eye after lunch. The advice that I'm going to give you might run contrary to what people may say, but in your office, in your cube, wherever you're working, just lie down and rest your back and relax for 10 minutes, 12 minutes. That, if you are able to do, that really rejuvenates you. I remember when I was working, I used to go, leave my office, go into my car, stretch the seat and really sleep for 15 minutes. And it is almost like starting off another fresh day. But I think it is fairly acceptable. I hope it is acceptable to, take a 10-15 minute break. That 15-minute break, if we are able to take, we refresh ourselves and we become much, much more productive than, spending the rest of the afternoon kind of in a not so attentive way. But if that is not possible, then yeah, try to do some Dirga Pranayama, very deep breathing, and really try to invigorate yourself. But that would be my advice, which may run contrary to popular opinion. All right. Okay, I think with that, I have really addressed every question there is. All right, and with that, you are so welcome, SV. Um, now, if you are able to, for those of you right now, I still see many people in the webinar, and I am specifically now speaking to those who are able to afford the 750 rupees and who still have not enrolled in the program. The question to ask yourself is why? Because this investment is going to take you much further ahead in your life, and it is going to give a healthy body, mind, and soul. So even if you are not enrolling in this program, my suggestion is at some point, please be sure to take up some holistic practices that will really help at many different levels. And to each and every one of you in the webinar today, I appreciate spending the last 100 minutes or so with you. I wish you all a very good evening and have a wonderful, great life. And for every one of you who have joined the program, welcome into the program, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the program. Thank you all so much. Namaste to everyone.